In this story, our protagonist was divorced, but to save his ex-wife, he ends up suffering an accident. Another protagonist who decides to face a truck. And as was to be expected, he was killed and sent to the past. But what he did not expect was that his ex-wife was also sent to the past, to a time when they were still teenagers. This story is quite different, so go ahead and leave a like and a comment so we can bring more works like this. The story begins amid screams and pleas to call an ambulance due to a serious car accident that happened. Suddenly, our protagonist is startled, finding himself inside a moving train car. At that moment, the sound system announces that the train is arriving at Jinling Station, the final destination. He looks at his own hand, completely confused, and wonders if by any chance he has died. That is when a young woman pokes him, asking for help to get her luggage from the overhead compartment. He recognizes the girl as Zheng Yin, and is shocked to notice that she looks much younger than he remembered. At that instant, he notices the reflection in the train window, seeing himself beside her, still unable to fully process what was happening. Seeing his appearance, he is shocked to look like he is 19 years old again. His mind goes into shock at the possibility that he has been reborn and gone back in time. Suddenly the scene changes. A girl asks the young man accompanying her to take her home, calling him older brother. She moves closer to him when he asks if she is afraid of him doing bad things, and smiling she tells him to stop that. But out of nowhere a woman appears completely furious, loudly calling him Zhou Yuan. The man turns his face, staring at the woman with a serious expression. Then she grabs him by the clothes and asks if that is the kind of younger girl he likes. It is then that he slaps her hand away, and calling her Su Qing, he questions whether she is drunk. And the young girl clinging to him provokes her by calling her aunt, saying that her ex-husband now likes younger girls. Su Qing turns red with anger and shouts, asking who she thinks she is calling aunt. Beside herself, she calls her a little vixen and lunges at the girl, who lets out a startled scream. With a sudden movement, Su Qing pulls down the top of her rival's dress, exposing the girl's lingerie. The scuffle turns into a spectacle in front of everyone, with the two of them grappling in the middle of the street. Suddenly, Su Qing loses her balance and starts to fall backward, but with quick reflexes, Zhou Yuan shouts "watch out" and manages to grab her arm in time. He holds Su Qing as the truck headlights draw closer and closer. Coming out of his memories, he sees Yan staring at him with a sulky look. He feels a bit awkward and apologizes, saying he was lost in thought. At that moment, the sound system announces that the train is arriving and asks everyone to hold on. With the swaying of the train, Yan loses her balance and screams, and he warns her to be careful, but she ends up falling hard on top of him, with her face very close to his. He is completely shocked by the situation, feeling her heart beating fast. Completely red, she screams in embarrassment and straightens herself, not knowing what to do. To break the mood, he says that he will help get her luggage from the compartment. Then he hands over the suitcase while Yan remains completely awkward beside him. Furious, she warns that if he tells anyone what happened, he is dead. He then thinks that she is still the same lively Zhen Yan from his memories. The scene shifts to the entrance of Jinling University, the beginning of his new journey. He reflects that fate disrupted his plans, but now he will go all out to win. With a determined look, he thinks that to hell with his past life, because now everything will be different. Then a young woman approaches and asks if he is a freshman and there to enroll. He recognizes her as the senior Chen Wan, the goddess of the university in his past life. Suddenly the scene cuts to Su Qing, who wakes up in bed completely startled. She looks around and wonders if that really is her old single bedroom. With the strap of her nightgown fallen, she is in shock, not understanding what is going on. Desperate, she runs toward the mirror to try to understand the situation. Seeing her reflection, she wonders what the hell is happening to her at that moment. With her hands on the mirror, she finally realizes that she has been reborn. Back on campus, the senior introduces herself as Chen Wan, but the shameless protagonist is paying attention to something else. He recognizes the mole on her chest, remembering that in his past life she tricked him into buying 3 cards. With the pamphlet in hand, she starts explaining the mobile phone offer to him, but he interrupts her, saying that her sales tactic is already a bit outdated. She is shocked, asking what he meant by that, not understanding anything. With a smile, he says that he is a local, and offers to promote the cards in exchange for commission. She thinks the idea is good, and believes that making him an agent among the freshmen could be very profitable. Then she hands the pamphlets to him, warning that she will collect the results later. He reflects that in his past life she accompanied him all the way to the dormitory, a very different treatment. Upon arriving at the dormitory, he hears someone complaining that the air conditioner looks like a relic. With a smile, he recognizes the familiar voice and opens the door to his new room. Inside, a red-haired guy complains that he only ended up there because he did badly on the exam. Then, the redhead turns around and runs toward him, full of excitement about the new roommate. He introduces himself as Chang Hao, and Zhu responds by introducing himself as well to his new friend. Suddenly, Chang Hao has a realization, seeming to have discovered a great coincidence. He shows Yan's photo, saying that he arranged to play cards with her and her roommate. Excited, Chang Hao calls everyone to go meet the girls, but Zhou refuses the invitation. One of the friends says not to push it, but offers to go along to see this Yan up close. He then teases Zhou, saying not to get jealous later, and leaves with the redhead. But the protagonist thinks that he has no time for games or for Su Qing in this new life. With a determined smile, he concludes that the only right path now is to make money. Outside, he meets 2 freshman girls and asks if by any chance they need help. The girls are enchanted by his looks and accept the help right away, all of them embarrassed. He then asks which dormitory is theirs to carry the suitcases, already building a good image. On the way, he takes the opportunity to ask about the data plan and offers the campus card to them. One of them thinks the offer is good and asks for his contact to coordinate with her roommate. The friend wonders why she asked for the contact if the number was already on the pamphlet he gave, but the other explains that with such a handsome senior, having the contact makes things easier in the future. He agrees right away and takes out his phone, already exchanging contact information with the two girls on the spot. At that moment, another young woman approaches and asks if by any chance he is going to building A9. He recognizes her as Shen Yu, another familiar face from his past life appearing before him. He confirms that he is also going to A9 and offers to take them, and Shen Yu's mother thanks him. The mother then suggests that she take a card, and Joe tells them to register with him. With that, she adds his contact, asking him to take good care of her daughter at college. Arriving at the building, he confirms that the room is 503 and offers to go up with the luggage. Shen Yu is surprised and asks how he knew the room number, leaving him embarrassed. He brushes it off, saying that they mentioned it, but scolds himself for speaking out of habit from his past life. At that moment, he thinks that the pace is too slow and that he needs to find a way to make money quickly. From afar, the girls he helped wonder who that senior was, so handsome and kind. The scene changes and a young woman notices that the number on the pamphlet is crossed out, but he says it was a mistake. With a little smile, she winks at him and says that she will definitely get in touch later. Suddenly, a friend comes running and says that he managed to get a lot of people wanting the cards. With a confident air, he thinks that the promotion was worth it and that his first servant has arrived. The scene goes back in time, showing the message he sent in the school group about the offer. He then talks with his friend Lu Shuo, who is super excited about the business idea. Shuo explains the commission plan to his friend, who agrees right away and already promises to bring a list. He praises the friend's efficiency, who replies saying that Brother Zhou's price is unbeatable. Suddenly, a girl approaches and asks what commission he pays per person. Zhou is shocked because he recognizes the top student of the class, the future diplomat Li Shiqing. With a smile, she asks if the commission is really 20 yuan per person she refers. He confirms and even offers the position of general agent and 30 commission if she brings 30 people. With eyes shining with interest, she accepts right away and says that she will send him the list. He shakes her hand, thinking that he has caught a big fish and that life is getting interesting. The friend is left jaw-dropped, unable to believe that he closed a deal with the girl so quickly. The scene changes to Su Qing trying to call someone, but the number no longer exists. At that moment, Yan Yim invites her to play cards in the cafeteria, calling her Qing Qing. Su Qing accepts the invitation right away, surprising her friend with the quick response. Yan Yim finds it strange, since Su Qing is usually much more reserved and hard to convince. She explains that she is bored and that she just needs to touch up her makeup before going out. But Yan Yan notices her expression and asks if by any chance her boyfriend will be there. With her face flushed, Su Qing thinks that he is not her boyfriend yet, but her future husband. The scene changes to the cafeteria, where the girls are already seated waiting for everyone. At that moment, a young man approaches Su Qing and asks if she is the student Zheng Yanyan. She stands up and is shocked to see that it was not Zhou who was there, but his friends. The two young men give her an awkward hello and she is completely surprised by the scene. Annoyed, she asks why it is them and where the hell Zhou Yuan is. Chang Hao explains that he had something to do, but inside he wonders what kind of luck this friend has. She is devastated and wonders if this is the butterfly effect of her rebirth changing everything. Yan Yan teases her friend but tries to comfort her, saying that maybe he is truly busy, but Su Qing laments, because she tried to call and the number did not exist, making her doubt everything. One of the young men asked if they are still going to play cards and the redhead said yes. The scene then cuts, showing the protagonist arriving at a cell phone store. A clerk approaches him and politely asks how she can help him. He then asks if the store manager is around, because he scheduled a meeting about a deal. The young woman confirms that the manager is inside and asks him to follow her to the room. She observes him and thinks that despite being young, he has a strong presence and already talks business. Already in the room, the manager calls him little brother and says that he has guts to want to be their agent. Calmly, he hands over a list with more than 200 interested students, saying that this is just the beginning. She is impressed by the volume and asks what discount he is getting on campus. He then says that the competition gives 70, but that he needs 80 in discount. With a smile, she praises his boldness and agrees to the proposal without hesitation. But he warns that he also wants the agency rights and 60% commission. She questions whether he is not trying to take the whole cake, asking if he knows her cost. He throws it in her face that he understands the business and promises to dominate the market in exchange for the commission. Impressed, she accepts the deal and tells him to set the place and time for delivery. She then asks if they can already sign the contract, and he agrees, saying that it is a pleasure doing business with her. Inside, she thinks that his mind is much deeper than that of a normal boy. Before signing, he asks if she has something for him, leaving the manager curious. He remembers that her store also offers Apple phones, laying some cards on the table. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria, one of the young men gets irritated with Su Qing's move in the card game because she does not know how to play, but Chang Hao tries to calm his friend, telling him to take it easy because she does not know how to play. The friend refuses to teach, grumbling that she and Zhou are a couple, so it is not his problem. Su Qing then apologizes for not knowing how to play and says that she is going to the bathroom. She then moves away from the table, walking alone through the cafeteria with the phone in her hand. On the phone, she wonders why Joe did not come and why everything is different from her past life. With hope, she decides to call his number, hoping that it is the same as before. Outside, he celebrates that the new phone number is the same as his past life, and suddenly the phone rings. He answers the call thinking the number is familiar and asks who is on the other end of the line. With no response, he gets irritated and warns that if the person does not say anything, he will hang up. Out of nowhere, Su-ching shouts that he needs to write novels, and shocked, he hangs up on her. On the other side, the sound of the call ending leaves her completely confused by his reaction. She is left without understanding anything, wondering why the hell he hung up on her, but then she realizes that he does not know her yet, and comes up with a plan. While Joe feels cursed. Desperate, he thinks that no matter what, he cannot let Su-ching discover that he was also reborn. Back to the group, the young men joke about sneaking into the boys' dormitory, since they have already seen the whole campus. Upon hearing the word dormitory, Su-ching has a realization, seeming to have a new idea in mind. Su-ching offers to take the young men back to the dormitory, surprising them. Yan becomes suspicious right away, thinking that she is only doing this to meet Zhou Yuwen. The redhead's friend complains about being jealous of Zhou, wishing that Yan liked him that way. Su-ching asks if Yan thinks that Chang Hao likes her, but she says that she prefers mature guys. Suddenly, they run into someone in front of the dormitory, leaving both of them surprised. Su-ching calls him by name, all excited for finally having found Zhou Yuwen. He turns around and confirms that it is indeed him, with a serious expression on his face. Inside, he panics upon realizing that it is her, the girl he wanted to avoid. Yan is also shocked, wondering if that guy really is the famous Zhou Yuwen. Su-ching approaches and the protagonist asks who she is, catching the girl by surprise. With a smile, she introduces herself while thinking that she fell in love with him in her past life. Yan observes the scene and thinks that it looks more like an attempt at flirting than a fight. Pretending to be awkward, he asks if she is hitting on him, and she suggests that they get to know each other again. With a determined look, she thinks that this time, it is her turn to chase after him. But he cuts her off, saying that he already has someone he likes, and that he will not deceive her. With a frozen smile, Su-ching is left completely speechless by his answer. She asks in shock if he has someone he likes, and he questions the reason for her surprise. He then makes up that he saw a beautiful girl in a dress and hat on campus today. Su-ching gets furious, and after telling him to stop talking, she thinks that in this life, he can only be hers. Suddenly, Yan approaches and greets Joe, all excited to see him again. He turns around and asks if they want to exchange contacts, moving closer with his phone in hand. Su-ching finds his phone strange, because in her past life, he did not have such a new iPhone. She then takes the phone and moves closer to him to add the contact, and he becomes awkward with the closeness. Inside, he thinks that the problem has arrived, and that there is no way to escape this situation, but to their surprise, he steps back and says to leave, adding it for another opportunity. At that moment, Chang Hao warns that there is a class meeting and that the advisor told him to call him. Relieved, he uses the meeting as an excuse and pulls his friends to leave there running. The scene then changes to a classroom, where the students are already seated waiting. In the classroom, the redhead points at a girl and asks his friend what he thought of her appearance. The two start arguing about each other's taste, and the friend teases the redhead's type of girl. The friend complains that she is too skinny and even looks malnourished to him. At that moment, Joe receives a message and celebrates the efficiency of his new agent. The teacher then introduces himself as the class advisor for the next 4 years. Joe becomes thoughtful, trying to remember who was the class president in his past life. Suddenly, a girl named Gu Yaowej runs for the position, and everyone goes crazy over her beauty. Next, a guy named Zhang Chao runs as well, and already asks if Gu Yaowej has a boyfriend. Joe's friends call him an idiot, saying that he does not even compare to their classmates. Another guy named Chang Wu also runs, with a much more direct and practical speech, but Joe interrupts him and introduces himself as the general agent, advertising his cards. Everyone is shocked by the offer, commenting that the plan is much more advantageous than the school's. The teacher is surprised by the student's attitude, observing him from afar. Joe then hands him a pamphlet, explaining that the plan also works for research. The teacher agrees that the offer is good and tells those who do not have a card to talk to the student. The protagonist then finishes by saying that for the entire dormitory, the internet would be super cheap. Impressed, the teacher thinks that his ability is incredible and that he would be a great president. A girl asks if there is commission, and he promises 50 commission if he becomes president. With the promise, everyone gets excited and starts declaring their vote for Zhou Yuwen. With the votes, he becomes the class president and Gu Yaoyao vice president. Afterwards, Gu Yaoyao approaches and says that she also wants a card, surprising him. With a smile, she says that she came especially to support his business and asks if she is not welcome. He then warns that anyone who has commitments can leave their ID with him to handle the card later. Another girl arrives excited, saying that she got 5 more people and demanding the commission. At that moment, Gu Yaoyao leaves her ID on the table for him, catching Joe's attention. She threatens him, saying that the price for ignoring her will be much higher than 50 gigabytes of data. With an intimidating look, she thinks that he is in trouble for daring to ignore her. The scene changes to the showers, and a friend asks if Joe has thought about getting with one of the girls. The friend says that he did not expect him to be a player, but the other replies that this is a lack of skill. Another classmate reminds him that he wanted a pure romance with Yan Yan, but the guy explains himself. Suddenly, one of the guys asks if everyone is smelling a fishy odor in the air. The friend teases the other, saying that he did not know he liked that kind of thing in the shower. Joe then explains that the smell is from a flower, asking them not to lead the friend down the wrong path. The redhead asks how he knows these things, and the friends confess that they were just joking. Suddenly, Joe stands up and reveals a six-pack to be envied, leaving his friends shocked. The redhead complains that he has worked out for a long time and is still skinny, but Joe says that just running already solves it. He then warns that he is already heading out of the shower, leaving the others behind in the locker room. The friends shout desperately for him to wait, running to finish their showers as well. Already getting dressed, one of the friends comments about the uniforms, and Joe says that he will need help. One of the guys says that he will get a card from him, but Joe says that he has an unlimited one for everyone. The friends insist on buying, and he is surprised that 3 of the 4 want a new card, and one of them even asks for a discount. The redhead mocks the friend for asking for an absurd discount amount. The redheaded friend clicks his tongue, with a face that shows he is not liking that scene at all. A girl greets the protagonist, asking if he also just finished showering, and Joe confirms. The friends are left jaw-dropped, wondering why she called him senior. She demands to know why he did not reply to the message, but he says that the senior was busy. With a gentle smile, he tells her to go back to the dormitory so she does not catch a cold. The girl melts completely, with her eyes shining with passion for him. All happy, she thanks him for the concern, and says goodbye to the senior as she leaves. A friend corners him, wanting to know about the girl calling him senior, but Joe dodges it, saying that he looks older. He changes the subject, telling them to go back to the dormitory to escape the mosquitoes. At that moment, 2 more girls appear and also call him senior, catching the friends by surprise. The friends are shocked again, while Joe just gives a little smile. They whisper that brother Joe is a suspicious big shot and decide to corner him in the dormitory. While Joe wonders what they are plotting, without beating around the bush, the red-headed friend already comes, demanding that he spill everything that is going on. With an awkward smile, he makes up the excuse that he has an older twin brother at the university. The friends doubt it, asking if he is lying, but Joe denies it right away. The redhead is shocked, and the other friend comments that this way he will not have trouble finding a girlfriend. One of them admits that Joe is more handsome than they are, and at that moment his phone starts ringing. He sees that it is Li Shiki calling, and answers the call with a serious expression on his face. On the other end, she excitedly informs him that she has already reached the target of 30 sales for him. The friends are amazed by his popularity, and Joe promises her a bonus of 200 yuan. He then asks how she managed it so quickly, already thinking about a new sales strategy. At that moment, he offers to pay for a meal for her as a form of thanks, but she changes her mind and asks if she can just receive the money instead of dinner, leaving him surprised. Irritated, he repeats her question, while his friends peek and tease him for having been rejected. He then agrees to another bonus if the sales channel is good, and she explains her pricing tactic. He reflects that selling cheaper could cause problems with the other agents and decides to warn her later. With that, he praises the strategy and promises the bonus, and she celebrates before hanging up. The friends surround him, wanting to know about the girl, but he says that she was just a business colleague. With a smile, he says that maybe they cannot achieve the same because they are not as handsome or as good at business as he is. He tells the friends to go to sleep, and one of them asks to be woken up early to help. While sleeping, he dreams of Su Qing, who demands that he love her for the rest of his life. But the dream turns into a nightmare, and she threatens him, saying that she will haunt him forever if he hurts her. With that, the protagonist wakes up with a jolt, completely frightened by what he just dreamed. He thinks that the next life is real, but swears that he never harmed Su Qing. At that moment, he realizes that she will become suspicious, wondering if she has already discovered everything. Determined, he decides that he will find a chance to test her next time. The scene then changes to a gymnasium, where the protagonist and a friend are organizing some things. At that moment, Gu Yaoyao arrives and comments with surprise that he is there very early. He replies that she arrived at the right time, leaving the young woman confused. He asks for her help to deliver the uniforms, because he needs to urgently take care of something else. She agrees but demands that he take her out to eat later, and he jokes that he will do that even if he does not make any money. When he leaves, another girl appears furious, telling Gu Yaoyao that they had a deal about who would approach Zhou Yuwen first. Gu Yaoyao responds mockingly that he is not her boyfriend, so the competition is open to everyone. The other then accepts the competition and thinks that she definitely will not give up on a guy as incredible as Zhou. Watching from afar, Su Qing wonders what got into those two, since none of this happened in her past life. Suddenly, she is startled when Yan Yan appears out of nowhere, grabbing her shoulder, calling her class president Su. Yan Yan mocks her, asking what Su Qing was thinking about and whether she had perhaps seen her future boyfriend. But inside, Yan Yan was wondering what spell Zhou Yuwen used to leave Su Qing so affected. Su Qing changes the subject, saying that work came before fun, so they should go distribute the uniforms right away. At that moment, Chang Hao appears all excited, offering to help Yan Yan with the task. She takes the chance to ask what Zhou's relationship with Su Qing is. The guy then explains that Su Qing is incredible, but that his friend does not like her that way. He continues, saying that Zhou is also the class president and already even has a business selling internet cards on campus. Yan Yan is surprised by all of this, especially by Zhou's business, since it was something she did not know. Then she becomes thoughtful, calculating the money that Joe must be making with those cards on campus. She then asks Chang Hao about the business, and he says that Joe has many clients and agents. Interested, she asks for Joe's contact, but Chang Hao says that he can sell to her, since he is his agent. But she immediately refuses, saying she can get a better price directly from the source, leaving the guy speechless. The scene shifts to a girl bragging that she already got 20 people interested in the cards, and asking how the protagonist is doing. He avoids the question and asks what commission she earns per person. All proud, she reveals that she makes 30 per person, which means 600 yuan in a single day of work. With a clever smile, he proposes to buy those people's information from her, offering a commission of 50 per person. Suddenly, a woman in uniform arrives, calling him boss and saying it was hard to find the place, but they made it in time. She stands beside him and asks if the people haven't arrived yet, but checking his phone, he says there are still 10 minutes left. He hands an ID to the young woman, asking her to process it first because it's a favor for someone. She takes the document and compliments the girl's beauty, asking with a smile if she's his girlfriend. But he jokes, saying that he's waiting for her to break up, leaving the woman embarrassed by the joke. Then the blonde senior appears confused, and he says he'll formally reintroduce himself to her. With a confident air, he introduces himself as Zhu Yuwen, the general agent of the university city. He then offers her a job as his agent, promising a much higher commission than what she earns now. Suddenly, a group shows up, and the protagonist asks one of the guys why he brought so many people along. The guy then introduces his classmates, who greet the protagonist enthusiastically, calling him Brother Zhu. A girl informs that only 22 people showed up, but he says that's great, and that he'll pay her commission. Excited, one of the guys starts organizing the line, telling everyone to line up properly to speed up the process. The girl from before offers to help, and Zhu thinks that the team is growing fast and getting the hang of it. Then an older man approaches curiously and asks the young man the reason for that huge line. Just like a Brazilian, if there's a line, he wants to join it. Zhu explains that they're making cell phone cards, and the man thinks the offer is good but complains that the line is too long. With that, Zhu calls them uncles and says they can come back later, and that the flyer explains the 3 available plans. One of the guys watching him is impressed and tells the protagonist that he has changed, that he looks like an experienced salesman and not a freshman. Zhu replies that life forced him into it since his family doesn't own a factory like his. The girls watch from afar, and the blonde calculates that with the 50 commission, she'll make good money. One of the girls tries to explain the service to an older lady, but the woman just leaves without signing up. Seeing that, Zhu comforts her, saying that's normal, and she says she needs to learn a lot from him to improve. Then he asks the senior if she's already decided, and she confirms, already texting her people to come. Around noon, he announces that everyone worked hard and that he bought some snacks so they can rest. Then the protagonist celebrates the money coming in, feeling that luck has finally smiled on him. But then Chang Hao arrives accompanied by Yan Yan and Su Qing, and he comments that Zhu must be making a lot of money from this. He replies that it's not much and wonders why Su Qing also came along with him. Yan Yan approaches and demands from Zhu why he still hasn't accepted her friend request on WeChat. He says that he was busy and didn't see it, while Su Qing once again notices that the script of this life is very different. Then Yan Yan grabs his phone and asks if that iPhone 5S is the newest model from the brand. He tries to take the phone back, but she jokes, asking if the business department is giving out iPhones for free. Suddenly, Su Qing confronts him, asking how he became the general agent since that's different from his past. Zhou then throws the question back, wanting to know why student Su seems to be paying so much attention to him. With her face red from anger, she questions him if he really belongs to this world. Yan Yan starts laughing at the question, and Zhou says that Su Qing is acting very strange today. But deep down he worries because he realizes that she's definitely starting to suspect something. Suddenly another girl appears and greets him, saying it's been a long time since they've seen each other. He then apologizes for deceiving her and her mother, and his friends accuse him of not being honest. In a cute way, he asks for forgiveness, saying it was inevitable, explaining that it was all for business. Yan Yan takes the chance and says he needs to buy a meal to apologize to Shen Yu. Then the friend who helped him gather the crowd arrives, calling him Brother Zhou to get his attention. Then the protagonist introduces his best friend to everyone, Lu Shuo, who studies engineering nearby. The redhead asks if he's from their old school, but Zhou explains that he's a high school friend. The friend then introduces the girl who's with him as Brother Zhou's childhood sweetheart. Su Qing is shocked because that person didn't exist in her past life, and she wonders if it's a distortion. Then the sound of a motorcycle catches everyone's attention, and a suspicious group suddenly arrives at the place. A red-haired woman at the front of the group asks intimidatingly if they're selling cards there. Zhou's group goes silent, staring at the newcomers with surprise and tension. His friend then steps forward and offers the cards for 145 yuan. With a discount for large groups, Zhou realizes they came with bad intentions, and his friends wonder if a fight is about to break out. The redhead throws the flyers on the ground, accusing the girl of messing up the market by selling cheaper. Zhou's friend tries to defuse the situation, thinking she really hadn't considered agents from other schools. When she tries to walk away, the redhead grabs her arm and asks where she thinks she's going. She yells for her to let go and says this is just market law, a normal business competition. The redhead gets irritated by the response, curses, and pushes her hard to the ground, but at the last second, Zhou catches her by the waist and asks if she's okay, and she answers that she is. He then steps in front of everyone and announces that he's the boss there. The redhead stammers and says she's not afraid of them just because they're in greater numbers. Yan finds his attitude super attractive, but Su-ching just rolls her eyes, thinking he's only trying to play the hero. Suddenly, the sound of more motorcycles arriving echoes through the street, raising smoke as they approach. A cocky guy gets off his bike, saying he thought it would be a big catch, but turns out it's just a bunch of rookies. He walks up and asks who Shou Yuan is, and our protagonist confirms it's him, facing his rival. The guy says he has a contract with the business hall and accuses Shou's team of stealing his clients. But Shou challenges him to show the contract and throws it in his face that his sister attacked his team. His friends back him up, saying the fault lies in the rival's incompetence, and his childhood crush feels protected by him. The rival then says the civil way didn't work, and suggests settling things in a more physical manner. Inside, the two stare each other down, each thinking the other is just bluffing to intimidate. With that, the guy challenges him, setting a meeting at 8 o'clock at a barbecue stand on Old Street. Shou reassures his friend, explaining that there are no territories and that he'll handle everything without problems. Yan teases Su-ching about her future boyfriend being a hero, while the other questions everything that's happening, but then she has a sudden realization because his protective way reminds her exactly of his future version. Watching the scene, the red-haired friend advises Yan to stay away from Shou's romantic messes. Su-ching then confronts him in front of everyone, asking if that girl Li Shiki is the one he likes. With a cold expression, he responds directly that it's none of her business. Yan tries to ease the tension, pulling Su-ching, telling her to just get the cards already. He then says he's busy and asks Shiki to make their cards. Su-ching shows a gloomy expression, thinking she needs to plan her next move carefully. Shenyu reflects that Senior Zhou is Su-ching's crush, but he doesn't seem to like her back. The scene shifts to 6 in the evening, and the protagonist asks his friend how many people he can bring to the fight, and the friend replies about 49 guys. He then offers 3,500 yuan to Drew, saying his father gave it to him to cover everyone's expenses. With a determined look, he thinks that what's his is also brother Zhou's, showing his loyalty. But Drew refuses the money, saying his commission covers the barbecue and gives him 3,000 instead. The friend is deeply moved by the gesture, declaring that from now on Drew is his older brother. A bit embarrassed, he simply tells his friend to stop with the drama and sentimentality, ending the topic. The friend says he's going back to school to get reinforcements and drives off at high speed. The scene shifts to sunset and the protagonist offers to walk Li Shiki back to the university. As they walk, he asks if the money has been counted, and she confirms the amount is correct. She feels guilty about the extra expense and tries to pay, but he says that's her share. With eyes full of tears, Li Shiki feels bad because she thinks paying for the meal was her responsibility. He steps closer with a smile and jokes, saying he didn't know the class president liked to cry. All embarrassed, she offers to buy him a meal or maybe go watch a movie together. With a calm smile on his face, he simply agrees to her suggestion without hesitation. He then suggests skipping the meal but proposes they watch a movie together, as an employee benefit. With her face flushed with happiness, she immediately agrees, saying it's a deal then. She says goodbye, saying she's heading to the dorm, and he tells her he's leaving too. He then reflects that Li Shiki is a good girl but needs to make things clear with her since he has no plans to get married. The scene shifts to the barbecue stand, where the waitress serves him a beer and some peanuts. Then one of those guys from earlier shows up demanding money, but Joe calmly just tells him not to touch the bottle. The guy mocks his calmness and gets ready to attack, thinking Joe is pretending to be tough. But in a quick move, the protagonist dodges the bottle and lands a clean punch right in the middle of the bully's face. The guy's friends are stunned, unable to believe the scene they just witnessed. Then he stares at the man on the ground, saying he tried to be nice but they were shameless. At that moment, Joe's friend arrives with a crowd, demanding to know who laid a hand on brother Joe. The delinquents are terrified by the arrival of so many people, since they're now outnumbered. Surrounded by his group, the protagonist makes it clear that when it comes to fighting, he's never been afraid. The rival is shocked by the crowd, wondering how a university student got involved with gangsters. Like a coward, the guy bows, saying it was all a misunderstanding, but Joe says he preferred his arrogance from before. To apologize, he downs a bottle of beer in one go, admitting that it was all his fault. Joe then mocks him about solving things the civil or physical way, while his friend thinks one bottle is too light a punishment. Under pressure, the rival doesn't think twice and starts chugging 2 bottles at once to prove his regret. Then Joe steps in, telling him to stop and saying it was also his girlfriend's fault for being young. Relieved, the guy agrees immediately, saying his sister was thoughtless and that it shouldn't be taken seriously. With a clever smile, Joe offers to compensate the guy for the money he lost with the few clients. But the rival instantly refuses, saying it's a small matter and that his girlfriend can keep the territory. Relieved, the guy thanks him repeatedly, saying everything's resolved thanks to brother Joe. Everyone is impressed by the protagonist's influence and all declare that they'll follow brother Zhu from now on. He then thanks everyone and invites the group to eat and drink on the house, and the crowd celebrates. Curious, he asks how his friend gathered so many people, and the guy explains that he promised barbecue to another class. The friend says it was amazing to organize everything, and the protagonist approves the idea with a thumbs up. The scene shifts to the school forum, where news of the fight has gone viral and people are already making up stories. His friends tease him about being famous as a gang leader, but he denies everything and says he'll delete the post. Furious, he realizes this is ruining his reputation and grabs his phone to make a call. He speaks on the phone saying the post is fake and must be deleted, but the person on the other end dislikes the command and asks who he is. With a serious and intimidating look, he simply replies that he is Zhu Yuan. On the other end of the line, the forum administrator freezes upon hearing his name and agrees to delete the post immediately. His friend then confirms that the post has really disappeared, leaving Zhu finally relieved about the situation. But peace doesn't last long because his phone rings again, and this time the call is from Su Qing. He finds it strange to receive a call so late, and his friend guesses it's definitely about the forum post. Zhu tells his friend not to gossip, but the redhead jokes, saying he'll tell Yin Yin everything. The scene shifts to Su Qing's dorm room, where she's sitting wearing a beautiful nightgown, scrolling on her phone. Then Yin Yin tries to secretly take a photo of her, saying it would be a waste not to post it. Su Qing lunges at her and tells her to stop playing around and delete the photo, but her friend refuses to erase it. Yin Yin then playfully calls for Shen Yu's help, saying Su Qing is attacking her. Their friend steps in to stop the fight and asks if Su Qing has found out how Zhu became the general agent. Yin Yin remembers that he even tricked poor Shen Yu, leaving the girl surprised. The blonde then imitates the protagonist, acting all smug, pretending to be a third-year senior to deceive the freshman. She mocks Shen Yu for believing it, and the embarrassed girl comments that his tactics seemed very professional. With a smile, Yin Yin asks Su Qing if he doesn't seem like an old fox, so different from their age. Su Qing becomes thoughtful and concludes that his actions aren't normal, wondering if he was also reborn like her. With a determined look, she decides she needs to find a chance to confront him and find out the truth. But then Yin Yin gets their attention, telling the girls to check the forum post right now. On the phone, the forum is exploding with gossip about the fight, and people are already calling Zhou a boss. Shen Yu reads the news and is shocked because they say he's the leader of a legendary secret society. While Yin Yin finds the photo intimidating, Su Qing feels uncertain because the protagonist was supposed to be just a normal student. Suddenly Yin Yin has a realization, thinking she understands why Su Qing likes Zhou so much. She says it's because he's a boss. But Su Qing starts to panic, wondering where everything went wrong and if this world isn't the same one she used to live in. Her friends grow worried, noticing that she's pale and her hands are cold, and they try to calm her down. Determined, she thinks she needs to ask who he really is and if he's still the person she once knew. Without thinking twice, she grabs her phone and calls him right away, hoping he'll answer. He picks up the phone, and on the other end of the line, she desperately asks if he's really Zhou Yuan. He finds her question crazy, and she invites him to meet, but he refuses, saying, "I'm going to the movies with my girlfriend." She is completely shocked by the word girlfriend, concluding that he's not the Zhou she knows. Seeing her reaction, her friends ask what he said, begging her not to scare them like that. Then she breaks down crying, saying he has a girlfriend and that this world is wrong. In tears, she despairs, saying that the Zhou she remembers no longer exists in this world, and that her existence has no meaning. Yan Yan tries to comfort her, saying there are plenty of other guys out there. With a broken heart, she says it was her stubbornness that drove him away, saying she'll probably never get married. Yan Yan doesn't understand why she would give up on marriage because of him, but Su Qing says she'll understand one day. Suddenly, Yan Yan's phone vibrates, and she's surprised by the message she just received. She then shouts to Su Qing, asking what would happen if Zhou Yuan didn't have a girlfriend. On the phone, his friend explains that it was all a huge misunderstanding and that the girl wasn't his girlfriend. Yan Yan explains the gossip, saying he only spent money to help the girl's family who was in trouble. Shen Yu asks if it was a misunderstanding, and Su Qing asks if that's true, but comments that he was still different from before. Yan Yan gets irritated with her friend and decides to fix the problem right away, sending a message to the protagonist's friend. The redhead receives the message saying they should go out to eat, but Zhou had to come along. He runs to Zhou in a panic, saying that Su Qing is crying and Yan Yan is furious with him, and explains what was in the message. Zhu replies that it has nothing to do with him, but the friend insists this is the dorm's first social event. He begs him to go, saying he already promised Yan Yan, and if Zhu doesn't come, the redhead will be in trouble because of it. The friend appeals to the other guys, saying it would be really lame if Zhu didn't come with them. The friends insist he should come along, and one of them even thinks only a fool would refuse free food. Then Zhu says he'll only go if the friend pays, and the redhead immediately agrees without even thinking. The redhead says his wallet belongs to Yan Yan, but warns that he'll only pay for Zhu, leaving the others angry. In the middle of the commotion, the protagonist's phone starts ringing, and on the screen appears the name Lu Shuo. He answers the call, calling his friend Shuguoans, which is a nickname. On the other end, the friend is super excited, saying their Zhu society has become famous and that he's the man. Zhu loses patience and tells him to stop with the nonsense, thinking his friend never changes. Lu Shuo says he's just giving him the news about the fame, but also that there's some trouble with the university department. He explains that the head of the department exploits the students, taking half of their pay. The friend then asks for help to deal with it, and Zhu becomes thoughtful, remembering something important. He recalls that in his past life, seniors used to exploit students, and he couldn't do anything about it due to lack of skills. But now things are different, and he smiles with a new plan in mind to change everything. Then he suggests that his friend ignore the department head and handle everything on his own. He explains that the market is hot, so all he needs to do is find clients and negotiate prices directly. The first step is to use the fame to create a group with students who need jobs. After that, it's just a matter of contacting companies and offering the labor without any middleman. but he warns there's one condition: his friend can't charge commission from his own classmates. Zhu realizes that the cards are just the beginning, and that connections are the real starting point. When they go to sleep, the redhead is already dreaming about the end of military training, but Zhu calls him a hopeless case. With that, he tells his friend to stop thinking about it and go to sleep, because there's training tomorrow. The redhead complains that he's going to bed too early, but Zhu doesn't even move in bed. Within seconds, he completely knocks out and starts snoring loudly. He then dreams about military training and thinks it would have been better not to be reborn just to go through that again. Meanwhile, his friend dreams that he's singing for the girls, thinking he's the real Jimin from BTS. Suddenly, the redhead wakes up startled as the bed shakes, thinking there's an earthquake happening. But then he realizes the shaking is because of his roommate's absurdly loud snoring. The scene shifts to the next morning, and an announcement calls all freshmen to the training field. One of the friends asks the redhead why he didn't sleep, and he replies that it's all his fault. Zhu ignores him and warns that if they keep stalling, they'll end up late for roll call. The redhead panics and starts getting dressed in a hurry, yelling for them to wait for him. He runs to the field, but the instructor stops him midway with a shout. Completely embarrassed, he tries to smile and greet the instructor, but it doesn't work. The instructor asks where he was during roll call, and he replies that he was on his way there. Zhu watches the scene from afar and thinks it's better not to cause trouble right from the start. The instructor yells, asking if he ate, and the redhead replies that he didn't, because roll call was at 6:30. The instructor tells him to stop wasting time and get in line, and the boy answers yes sir. Next to Zhu, the redhead comments that the superior seems very sociable. Then the instructor orders him out of line to do squats for 30 minutes, and he even tries to negotiate the time, but the instructor yells at him to go squat farther away, and the boy runs off to obey. From afar, Suqing asks Yan Yan if her heart doesn't ache seeing Chang Hao being punished. Yan Yan gets annoyed at the joke and grabs Suqing by the clothes. The instructor then warns everyone not to cause trouble and to report if they feel unwell. But then Zhu raises his hand with a medical note, asking for permission because he isn't feeling well. The instructor tells him to disappear and go to the infirmary. He then leaves, thinking that although he can't leave the university, everything went according to plan. The girls watch Zhu leaving, and Yan Yan comments that he must be too delicate for escaping training. Shortly after, Yan Yan is already completely out of breath from the effort. Exhausted, she admits that Zhu was smart because she feels she won't be able to endure all that. Then she raises her hand and tells the instructor she's having cramps, and the instructor awkwardly lets her go too. With a victorious smile, she walks out all cheerful, leaving poor Chang Hao in disbelief. The redhead then tries to imitate her, shouting that he also needs to go to the bathroom, but the instructor mocks him, asking if he's having cramps too. Furious, the instructor yells that he won't allow it, and Chang Hao starts crying while everyone laughs at him. The scene shifts to the infirmary, already late in the afternoon, around 5 o'clock. In his thoughts, Zhu celebrates the money he made, and when he opens the door, he runs into Yan Yan. He's surprised to see her there and calls her by name, surprising her too. He asks what she's doing there, and Yan Yan teases him back, asking if he's feeling better already. Ignoring the teasing, he tells her the training is over and she should go back to her group. Pouting, she mutters that he's a sly fox. Back on the field, the instructor corners Chang Hao, asking his name, and he begs for forgiveness, but the instructor just repeats the question. With no way out, the redhead salutes and introduces himself as Chang Hao, feeling awkward. But to his surprise, the instructor appoints him as class president of the platoon, leaving him completely confused. The scene then shifts to the male dorm, already at night after a tiring day. In bed, Chang Hao brags to Yan Yan by message, saying he's now the platoon president. Meanwhile, Zhou is on the computer calculating that the card business is almost at its limit and needs a new plan. Suddenly his phone rings, and on the screen appears Suqing's name, asking why he wasn't at military training. He replies to the message saying he wasn't feeling well, keeping the same excuse he gave the instructor. Suqing insists, but he cuts her off quickly. Then he suddenly remembers that in his past life he made money by writing novels. That's when he realizes it's the perfect time to do it again since the urban genre is trending. He then starts writing his own story, calling it Rebirth of a Perfect Life. After posting the first chapter, he grabs his phone to check the feedback on his new work. The guy is fast, barely posted, and already wants results. He sees that people are already commenting, doubting his promise to write 20,000 words a day. With a confident smile, he thinks that he will regain everything that belongs to him in this new beginning. The scene cuts to Chang Hao suffering during training, being ironically named the MVP of the day. The weekend arrives, and the redhead gets all dressed up, excited for the dinner they planned. Zhu says they cleaned up nicely. His friend agrees, saying that this time they'll definitely do well. Then he grabs the redhead's legs and begs for help to win over a girl, and the redhead promises he'll help. They arrive at the university gate, and Yan Yan scolds them, asking why they took so long. Completely embarrassed, the redhead apologizes for being late and promises to make it up to the girls later. Then Zhu notices a new face, and Yan Yan introduces her as Lu Lin, her roommate. The scene shifts, and we see the sun already setting on the horizon. Everyone passing by is mesmerized by Yan Yan's beauty, blushing the moment they see her. The girls walk with an air of total confidence, drawing even more attention. A random guy calls the girls beautiful, completely enchanted by them. But his girlfriend doesn't like the compliment at all and grabs him, making him apologize immediately. Already at the restaurant, the redhead brags, saying he'll pay for the buffet for everyone. Ju finds his generosity strange since he remembers that in his past life his friend was stingy. The buffet is filled with options, with various kinds of meat and other delicious foods. Su-ching takes the opportunity and confronts Ju, saying she heard he's not dating, and he confirms it. She then asks why he lied, saying he wasn't like that before. He says she was always bothering him, but he wasn't interested in dating at all. Su-ching is surprised and says they don't need to date since they can just be friends, but he asks why she insists so much on it, thinking that he already suffered too much because of her in his past life. She then asks if he believes in past lives and tells him she dreamed she was a princess protected by him. With a mocking tone, he suggests she might as well say they were married and reincarnated. Su-ching is shocked and asks how he knew, confirming that she really was reborn. In disbelief, he teases her and asks if she knows tomorrow's lottery numbers, but she ignores the joke and shouts that they were married for years and even had children together. Su-ching is so shocked by the revelation that he even drops the food he was picking up. Completely frightened, he thinks she's talking a bunch of nonsense and must be crazy. He whispers for her to stop with those ideas, saying they'll think she's insane and have her locked up. At the table, the group starts putting meat and other side dishes on the grill. Then Yanyan raises her glass and proposes a toast, excited to start drinking with everyone. She then points to the guys and says they have to drink 3 glasses as punishment for being late. Cheng Hao accepts the challenge immediately and makes a toast, saying that now everyone there are friends. With that, the 4 friends down their glasses all at once, accepting Yanyan's punishment. Shen Yu takes advantage of the mood and asks Su-ching if she and Ju are childhood sweethearts. Ju overhears and awkwardly responds that actually they're not even that close. Su-ching smiles, confirming what he said, thinking that they were even divorced in their past life, so they know each other well. The redhead then suggests a double date, but Yanyan cuts him off immediately, clearly irritated. Shen Yu says that Su-ching insists Ju writes novels and asks if he's good at it, and Su-ching then says he used to read a lot in school. The other girl gets excited about the topic, and Su-ching becomes worried, realizing she can't let the two talk too much. With a tense smile, Su-ching just reinforces that he really loves reading. He then starts mentioning several complex books to show off, and Shen Yu is super impressed. The redhead cuts the talk, saying that if they want to chat so much, they can do it on WeChat since they're not there to talk about books. The girls glare at him and the redhead starts sweating under their serious stares. To break the ice, he suggests that everyone eat first and leave the book talk for later. With a mischievous smile, Yanyan realizes that Shen Yu also has her eyes on Juwo. Su-ching says she's never seen him read those books, but he replies that she wouldn't know since they're not twins. Then one of Juwo's friends comments about an author who made a crazy promise to write 20,000 words a day, referring to the protagonist. Chong Hao is impressed by the author's courage, thinking the guy is a real tough one. But Yanyan isn't convinced, thinking it's just a marketing trick to get attention. Juwo says he's read it and that it's popular. While Su-ching notices he's avoiding her. Furious, Su-ching thinks she'll show him what she's capable of. Yanyan changes the subject to Lu Lin, asking why the introverted friend came to study in that city. Lu Lin lights a cigarette and says she only got into college through slot adjustment, not caring much about it. Juwo is shocked by her attitude, regretting never noticing this girl in his past life. With a confident air, she exhales the smoke and asks if the group minds her smoking there. Then one of Juwo's friends instantly falls for her, declaring that he's captivated by Lu Lin. Half an hour later, the redhead announces that the party will continue at a karaoke and that the bill is on him. Excited, he says he'll take over the microphone, while another friend is already ready to sing. Outside, Shen Yu offers to pay for the karaoke since the redhead paid for dinner, but Yanyan suggests splitting the bill among the 4 girls. Arriving at the place, the receptionist asks how many people there are and if they already have a reservation. Yanyan then takes the lead and says there are 8 people and that the girls will pay the bill. The redhead tries to insist on paying, but she cuts him off right away, saying they've already decided and that's final. But then the receptionist asks who Mr. Zhou is, saying he's already reserved and paid for the luxury suite. As calm as ever, Zhou raises his hand and confirms it was him, leaving everyone shocked. His friend freaks out with surprise and even calls him godfather for such generosity. The receptionist then smiles and politely asks Mr. Zhou to follow her to the room. Upon entering the luxurious room, the redhead is left speechless, and Zhou thinks he needed to return the favor for the dinner. Yanyan gets excited and starts taking several photos, already thinking of a clickbait title to post online. Then she approaches Zhou and asks him to smile for the camera, calling him boss. His friends make a toast, saying that tonight promises and that no one's going home sober. One of the girls thanks him for dinner and everything else, but he says it's a man's duty to pay the bill on such outings. Shen Yu then asks him to play a song, and when Zhou hears the name, he says that he likes it a lot too. She gets all excited, saying it's such a coincidence and that they have a lot in common. From afar, Yanyan watches the scene and wonders when those two became so friendly. She then walks up to them and tells Zhou to help the others choose songs too. With that, he agrees and turns around to ask the rest of the group what they want to hear. But as he turns, he accidentally bumps into Yanyan, leaving him stunned. Completely embarrassed, he thinks he just felt something really strange in that moment. The scene becomes flowery, highlighting the awkward tension that formed between the two after the bump. He turns red and tries to deny it, saying he didn't mean any harm and that it wasn't a big deal. But with a teasing smile, she leans closer and provocatively asks if it was soft by any chance. The mood is broken by the redhead, who who shouts for them to remove the vocals from the song so he can sing. Embarrassed, he says he already removed the vocals, while Yanyan awkwardly turns away. He finally sits down and sighs in relief, taking a sip to hide his nervousness. Suching arrives, questioning what he and Yanyan were doing, but he deflects, saying they were just choosing songs. With an angry pout, she mutters that they were way too close just to pick a song. She gets frustrated with herself for caring so much, while Ju simply ignores the drama. Then Yanyan sits next to him and shows him a photo, saying that a friend wants his contact. She leans in even closer to show the phone, making him focus on something that definitely wasn't the picture. He blushes completely and drinks in one go, thinking that his young body can't handle this kind of pressure. She asks why he's drinking alone, looking down like that, and offers to drink with him. The group notices that the song is a duet, and Shen Yu suggests changing it, but the others don't care. A bit embarrassed, she agrees that maybe it's better to switch versions of the song. But then Ju stands up and invites Shen Yu to sing the duet with him, catching her by surprise. He then grabs the microphone and starts singing his part, showing he's got talent for it. Shen Yu is enchanted by his voice, finding the sound super pleasant and magnetic. Then the two sing together, creating a beautiful and harmonious scene. Their friends get excited and start shouting for them to kiss, cheering loudly for the couple. Their score is high, and Shen Yu blushes while Zhou tells everyone to stop. Then Lu Lin steps onto the stage and starts singing, leaving everyone speechless with her talent. Sitting down, Zhou just watches the performance with a calm smile, lightly scrolling on his phone. Shen Yu admires him from afar, thinking she now understands why Suqing insists so much on him. But Suqing doesn't like the scene at all, grumbling that he only knows how to attract girls' attention. 3 hours later, everyone is exhausted, and the redhead is startled to see it's already 11 at night. Zhou then stands up and announces that the party is over for today, calling everyone to leave. On the way out, Shen Yu compliments his singing, and he says he'll pay the bill before they go. His friend jokes, asking if he's rich, but Zhou says the money is for business. Suqing asks about the novels, but he says he wants to be an entrepreneur and build an empire. With a serious look, he says they could be good friends if she stopped chasing romance. She then accuses him of being pretentious, but he only replies that he's just telling the truth. With a confident gaze, she thinks that she'll win him over and that in the end he'll be hers again. Without warning, she leans in and kisses him on the cheek, leaving the protagonist completely shocked. He's speechless and stammers, blushing, saying, "We agreed to just be friends." With a seductive smile, she says, "It was just a little motivation for your business, and we'll work hard together." The scene shifts to the girls' dorm and someone turns on the light in room 503. Yanyan asks Lu Lin if she gave her contact to that guy Li Chang, suspicious of her friend. Lu Lin says she gave the number to avoid trouble, and Yanyan jokes that his look wasn't innocent. Out of patience, she says the conversation is boring and announces she's going to take a shower to relax. The scene then focuses on her in the shower, with water falling and lots of foam forming. But then Yanyan walks into the shower with Su Chang, inviting Lu Lin to wash with them. Lu Lin turns around, surprised, not understanding what's going on with the invasion in the bathroom. With a mischievous grin, Yanyan teases her about the size of her bust. Annoyed, Lu Lin kicks her out of the bathroom, yelling for Yanyan to get out right now. When she leaves, Yanyan says her phone hasn't stopped ringing, and that it must be Li Chang. On the phone, there are several messages from the guy, asking why she hasn't replied. Yanyan then says it's better to like Zhou Yuwen than that pushy guy. Curious, Lu Lin asks how he managed to get so much money at the start of college. Yanyan asks if she's interested but warns that Su Chang also likes him a lot. She then gossips that Zhou made 30,000 yuan just from the cards, leaving Lu Lin surprised, but Yanyan corrects herself, guessing that as a general agent, he must have made around 150,000. Lu Lin becomes thoughtful, while Yanyan complains about not having that kind of money in her account. Suddenly, Shen Yu appears and asks what they're talking about, catching both of them off guard. The girl blushes, embarrassed, upon hearing that the topic was about boyfriends. She then says she thinks Zhou Yuwen is a good catch, and Yanyan immediately agrees. But then Yanyan realizes and asks if Shen Yu also likes him. With a mischievous smile, she suggests that Zhou should be Shen Yu's boyfriend, leaving her friend flustered. At that moment, Suqing enters the room and asks what they're whispering about. Shen Yu says it's nothing, but Suqing looks unconvinced by the excuse. To escape, Shen Yu says she's going to the bathroom. But Suqing presses her, saying she heard her saying that Zhou was good boyfriend material. With no way out, Shen Yu ends up confessing that she thinks she's fallen for him too. She then proposes a fair competition and that both of them accept whoever he chooses in the end, but Suqing cuts her off immediately, saying with full confidence that he won't choose her. Shen Yu isn't shaken and says she still wants to try, and Suqing only replies for her to do whatever she wants. Inside, Suqing thinks that just a friendship because of music won't make Zhou fall in love. Already lying down, Yanyan tells her friends the gossip about the accidental touch, but Shen Yu doesn't believe her. Annoyed, Yanyan says she can believe it or not, and that she'll steal Zhou for herself. Lying in bed, she complains that guys' pickup lines are always the same and really boring. Meanwhile, Shen Yu keeps deleting and rewriting a message to Zhou, unsure of what to send. After sending it, she panics, thinking she overdid it, and that he'll think she's annoying for messaging too much. Her heart races with anxiety, afraid that he'll just ignore her and not reply. But suddenly, her phone vibrates with a notification, and she grabs it immediately. To her surprise, he replies by sharing a song and inviting her to go to karaoke again. She's shocked, wondering if he might like her a little too to send an invite like that. She asks if the invitation is just for the two of them, and he confirms, making the girl super excited. Across the dorm, Lu Lin sends a message to Chang Hai, asking for Zhou's contact. The scene then cuts to the boys' dorm, focusing on someone's hand over a laptop. Zhou celebrates that his novel is in the top 10, thinking that soon he'll be able to relax and just save money. He sees a new request and wonders why everyone's suddenly reaching out to him, thinking he must be getting more charming. Then Lu Lin's message comes in directly, asking right away to borrow 2,000 yuan. She then offers to be his girlfriend in exchange for the money, and even sends a photo to convince him. Zhou is so shocked by the proposal that he spits out what he was drinking at that moment. Irritated, he thinks this is just a scam to take his money and sleep with him, but it's not going to happen. The scene shifts to military training in the morning, where everyone's running, but our protagonist isn't among them. Relaxed, he eats fried chicken and calculates that by October he'll already have enough money to buy an Audi. But suddenly, a hand grabs his food, and a voice says some people are really good at faking illness. It's Yan Yan, and he's startled, asking if she followed him, but she shamelessly denies it. She savors the french fry she just took from him. Then she threatens him, saying she'll tell the instructor if he doesn't share, and Zhu accuses her of extortion. Unbothered, she throws herself forward to grab the food, and he shouts that she's crushing his leg. All happy, she says the fries are hers and that he can keep the chicken, enjoying the meal. He's outraged, thinking she planned it all, and Yan Yan says it's payment for her silence. With a seductive smile, she threatens him again, saying he'd better bring double the food next time or she'll tell Su Qing that he touched her. He panics and shouts, asking when he supposedly touched her for her to make up that story. She accuses him of flirting with every girl, including Lu Lin, but he denies everything, saying they're just friends. Pouting, she says she doesn't believe him, but then her expression changes to surprise. She then asks if he's trying to get with every girl in the dorm and if he can even handle that. He explains that it's Lu Lin who keeps asking to borrow money, but he doesn't know why. Yan Yan says he's rejecting the girl and he defends himself, saying he just feels sorry for Lu Chang. She laughs, thinking that Lu Chang must be trying for nothing, and Zhou considers warning him. She then asks for more food for the night and he grumbles that this has turned into endless blackmail. But then Yan Yan takes out 200 yuan and tells him to buy food for the evening, and Zhou is surprised, asking why she's eating so much. She says it's none of his business, asking if she can't share it with the girls in the dorm too. All excited, she says she'll wait for the food since she knows he has his contacts to get it. He watches her and thinks that deep down she's kind of cute, acting so bossy like that. Back at the dorm, she arrives with a bag of food, announcing the surprise to her friends. The girls get super excited about the fried chicken, asking where she got all that from. Yan Yan asks for silence and whispers that Zhou sent the food, saying she's doomed if they find out. Su Qing is shocked by the revelation and asks when the two of them got so close. With a smirk, Yan Yan jokes that he only helped out of respect for a certain fairy from their dorm. Su Qing brags, saying it was because of her, and Yan Yan tells her to just eat already. Suddenly, a senior girl stops outside, smelling the strong scent of fried chicken in the hallway. Jealous, the girl decides she's going to report the freshman for getting special treatment. In the boys' dorm, the redhead complains that Zhou only brought snacks for Yan Yan and forgot about them. Zhou then throws it in their faces that they got much less food because Yan Yan didn't think about the others. Then a classmate arrives in a panic, warning that Yan Yan's dorm was reported and that they're being punished. The group is shocked by the news, unable to believe what they just heard about the girls. Without thinking twice, the protagonist runs down the hallway to see what's happening with them. The instructor appears furious, shouting and demanding to know how they managed to get that food inside. Outside, Yan Yan takes all the blame, asking the instructor to punish only her. But he ignores her and points at Su Qing, ordering her to tell the truth about what happened. The girl lowers her head, looking sad, not knowing what to say in that situation. Zhou arrives and reports to the instructor, saying that he was the one who gave them the food. The instructor doubts him, but Zhou confidently confirms that the responsibility was his. When questioned about the reason, he makes up a story that he did it because there's a girl he likes in that dorm. The statement catches all the girls by surprise, leaving them stunned by his excuse. The instructor then becomes very curious and pressures Zhou, wanting to know who the girl is. At that moment, Su Qing blushes, certain that he must be talking about her, but Zhou just gives a small smirk, keeping everyone in suspense. He then points and says it's her, gesturing with his hand. To everyone's surprise, he points directly at Yan Yan, who doesn't understand anything. The instructor and the girls look at her, and the instructor asks if what Zhou said is true. Playing along with the lie, Yan Yan confirms everything and says she asked her boyfriend for food. From afar, poor Chang Hao cries, regretting not having acted first. The instructor then orders the two of them to follow him, saying they won't escape punishment. On the way, Zhou accepts the blame, but Yan Yan becomes furious when he says she was the one who messed up first. The friends get worried, and one of them decides to call the counselor to try to help. The scene shifts to the director's office, where the instructor reports the bad behavior of the two freshmen. With an intimidating look, the director agrees that they need to be punished severely, but suddenly he blushes, leaving the three of them completely confused. He then starts flattering the instructor, saying he's a true role model for everyone. With that, the director dismisses him and stays alone with the students to resolve the situation. He then asks Zhao if she's his girlfriend, and the protagonist confirms it. Then he questions Yan Yan, who just gives a shy giggle, confirming the story. The director says they make a lovely couple, and the two awkwardly thank him. He then explains that the rules prohibit outside food but says he'll go easy since it's their first time. Their punishment is only to write a 2,000-word essay about what happened. Zhao flatters the director, thanking him, but Yanyan despairs over the 2,000-word essay. She begs for his help, but Zhao says she'll have to write everything by herself. Annoyed by the scene, the director orders them to leave his office immediately. As they leave, the director instructs them to lie to the instructor about the punishment, and Yanyan says the director is a good person. Outside, she asks him about the consequences, but he replies that he doesn't care. With a serious look, she calls him by name, and he just asks what she wants. She then asks if he wants to be her real boyfriend, leaving Zhao completely shocked. Without waiting for an answer, she pulls him close and hugs or kisses him, catching him off guard. She quickly steps back, leaving him embarrassed and red-faced by her bold move. From a distance, she blows him a kiss and says it's payment for him defending her earlier. The scene then shifts to the next day, already late in the afternoon, after another day of training. On the phone, she accuses him of avoiding responsibility after touching and kissing her, but he says he's busy. She still asks him to bring her a Coke when he returns and says, "I miss you," leaving the protagonist speechless. After hanging up, she smiles dreamily, staring at her phone. Suddenly, Su Qing appears and startles her, saying she heard the whole conversation. Su Qing says that Zhou won't like Yanyan, while at the same time wondering what's wrong with that world. But Yanyan shows off, asking why only she and Shen Yu can like Zhou and not her. With that, she announces that she's going to compete with both of them for Zhou, leaving her friends surprised. Then her phone rings, and when she answers, it's Zhou already downstairs waiting for her. All excited, she says she's going to get the Coke he bought, leaving the others in shock. Su Qing becomes thoughtful, wondering if Zhou might actually like Yanyan. The scene shifts to the front of the dorm, where the two finally meet alone. He hands her the drink and asks for 3 yuan, and she jokes that he's too nice to her. Suddenly, she looks up toward the window where her friends are spying on them. Without warning, she hugs him tightly, saying she just wanted to give him a hug. She then asks what he's going to do, but Zhou says he's waiting for someone to arrive. Then he points and says that the person just got there. To everyone's surprise, the one who shows up all dressed up is the mysterious roommate Lu Lin. The scene shifts to a flashback, and Zhou lends 2,000 yuan to Lu Lin, who declares herself his girlfriend, but he cuts her off immediately, saying he doesn't care about that, and that she just needs to pay him back. Zhou then asks if there wasn't a chance that Li Chang also wanted to lend her the money. She explains that she turned him down, saying he was in a tough spot, and that she liked Zhou. He complains about being used as an excuse, but she says she doesn't accept help from just anyone. The scene then moves to the final presentation of the military training, with a big stage set up. The redhead friend says that now training is over, so he asks who Zhou likes, but Zhou says everyone there is just a friend. Suddenly, the redhead's friends grab him from behind, catching him by surprise. Confused, he asks what's going on, then they carry him away, shouting that they're going to pull a prank on him. On stage, the host announces the next act, a couple's dance. With the announcement, the crowd goes wild, waving light sticks with excitement. To everyone's surprise, Yanyan and Lu Lin step onto the stage, ready to start dancing. They begin to dance in a sensual way, driving the crowd crazy. The two strike a final pose together, leaving the audience speechless with their performance. The crowd cheers for more and even shouts that the two should just get together already. Backstage, some guys ask for their contacts, but Yanyan refuses, saying she already has a boyfriend, while Lu Lin doesn't even respond. Yanyan asks if she didn't want flowers, but Lu Lin says those things are useless. With that, she says she's going back to the dorm to change clothes because she's feeling cold. Alone, Yanyan hears someone calling Zhu and asking if he's ready, and he confirms right away. With a pout, she complains that she danced really well, but he didn't even bother to look. Then she approaches him and Shen Yu, asking what they were talking about. The girl tries to brush it off, saying it's nothing, but Yanyan insists, not believing what she said. The scene then flashes back to a week earlier, showing Shen Yu giving Zhu some cookies she baked herself. He takes the gift, thanking her, and she invites him to sing a duet with her at the final presentation. With a smile, he thinks the gift was sincere, so there was no way to refuse the invitation. Back in the present, Yanyan asks if he saw her dance, and Zhou says yes and that he thought it was beautiful. He then becomes thoughtful, as if looking for the right words to give a compliment. With a mischievous look, he comments that her dance was quite white, referring to her legs. Yanyan bursts out laughing at the compliment, and Zhou tells Shen Yu to go get ready to sing. When they're alone, Yanyan says that now that Shen Yu's gone, he can be honest and say if he liked the dance, and the protagonist confirms that he did. With a seductive smile, she asks if he wants to see something different, making Zhou curious. She then shows him a video on her phone, recorded while they were practicing. He says he's already seen it, but she explains that this part she danced especially for him. The video focuses on a much bolder pose that wasn't shown in the public performance. Smiling, she boasts in her mind about how sexy she looked, while Zhou thinks about the contrast between her and Lu Lin. She explains that she wanted to show the dance only to the person she likes, leaving Zhou surprised. With a smile, he asks to see it again, and she accuses him of being far from honest. The scene changes, and the redhead's friend apologizes for making him miss the girl's dance. They hear some guys praising the beauty of the two, and one of them laments that Yanyan already has a boyfriend and wonders about the other girl. Then the redhead reveals that the other girl's name is Lu Lin. With a big grin, Chang Hao boasts, saying he's Yanyan's boyfriend. One of the guys then says that his girlfriend is chatting with someone else, leaving the redhead confused. He turns around and is shocked to see Yanyan sitting very close to Zhu Yuan. Devastated, he falls to his knees and starts crying, shouting Yanyan's name in despair. Suddenly, Suqing appears and asks if he's really going to sing with Shenyu later. Yanyan is also surprised and asks why she didn't know anything about the performance, and he says she didn't ask. With a pout, she grumbles that he should have taken the initiative to tell her. He asks why he should, and she clings to him, saying it's because she's his girlfriend. He asks if he agreed to that, but she says he didn't deny it either, while Suqing grows more and more irritated. Then Yanyan complains about Shenyu, and Ju is surprised that they talk about him in the dorm. Suqing then announces that she's decided to give up on him, leaving both of them shocked, and Yanyan says he's hers now. He stands up to get ready to sing, leaving the two alone with the drama. Suqing watches him from afar, suspecting that his calmness is nothing but a big act. Yanyan says that Shenyu is already going after him, and they can't let their guard down, but Suqing insists that she has already given up on him. Yanyan says that she talks like that but secretly wants to have a secret romance with Ju. Suqing advises Yanyan to clear things up with Changhao to avoid problems. Yanyan confesses that she likes Ju but is afraid of losing face if she gets rejected. With that, Suqing says that true love doesn't care about pride and advises her to take action. Yanyan is surprised by her friend's words and teases her, saying she's got a talent for giving advice. Embarrassed, Suqing tells Yanyan to get away from her. On stage, the host announces the duet, and the name of the song excites the crowd. Yanyan and Suqing are shocked by Shenyu's bold choice of song. In perfect harmony, the two begin to sing the romantic tune. The performance continues, with the two looking like a truly in-love couple singing together. The audience is captivated by the atmosphere, commenting on their chemistry. Excited, the crowd starts chanting in unison, asking them to kiss right there. Seeing the scene, Yanyan becomes furious, her jealousy meter exploding. The friends comment on Shenyu's talent, and the redhead says she's from Yanyan's dorm. A guy asks if Joe is her boyfriend, but his friend says they're just partners. Suddenly they see Yanyan climbing onto the stage, and the redhead panics at the sight. She then approaches with flowers and praises Shenyu's singing, cutting through the moment. Then she turns to Joe and seductively asks when he's going to sing with her. With a calm look, he simply answers that he'll sing if he gets the chance. Irritated, she accuses him of enjoying having all the girls from the dorm around him. She then says she doesn't care and that she won't let him get away this time, leaving him confused. Without thinking twice, she grabs him and kisses him in front of everyone, leaving him in shock. The crowd goes wild, commenting on the love triangle. The redhead's friend doesn't let it slide and asks why his girlfriend just kissed someone else's boyfriend. Completely heartbroken, Changhao cries with a broken heart while his friend tries to comfort him. Yanyan then mocks, saying he didn't have the courage to reject her because she's too cute. Shenyu is confused, thinking that things weren't supposed to go this way. Then, people in the audience start gossiping, calling Shenyu shameless for singing with another girl's boyfriend. A girl in the audience bluntly asks if Yanyan is really his girlfriend. With a smile, Yanyan clings to him and says it's more than obvious. To calm the gossip, she calls Shenyu and says she just lent her boyfriend to sing with her friend. The photographer then asks everyone to get in position for a photo, telling Zhou to move closer. Inside, he's torn, not wanting to hurt Yanyan but also thinking about Shenyu. Seeing the mess, Shenyu says she's not feeling well and is going back to the dorm. She then turns and walks away, leaving the two behind in the crowd. But Yanyan grabs her by the arm, saying she won the competition this time. With a look of disdain, Shenyu wonders if Yanyan is proud of kissing a guy who isn't even hers. Yanyan watches as Shenyu turns her back and leaves. Yanyan turns away too, thinking she's gone all in and will fight for every opportunity. As the performance comes to an end, the crowd grows nostalgic about the end of training. Then Yanyan asks if Yu likes her, Suqing or Shenyu, and to her surprise, he replies that he likes Shenyu. She calls him a liar, but he explains that he just didn't want to embarrass her in front of everyone. With a smile, she concludes that this means he still has a place for her in his heart. She then confesses that she only wanted to hug him but got carried away by the moment. Nearby, a group of people is sitting in a circle, playing and singing. Then Ju and Yanyan are stopped by a senior who asks who the girl with him is. He then introduces the two, saying one is Yanyan and the other is Vice President Chen Wan. Chen Wan compliments his voice and asks him to play a song as a gift for his girlfriend. Excited, the whole crowd starts chanting for him to play a song for them. He then picks up the guitar and starts playing, and the girls comment that being his girlfriend must be wonderful. Chen Wan then teases Yanyan, asking why she's blushing and if she likes him even more now. Completely smitten, she thinks he was singing while looking at her the whole time, and the song ends. A senior named Tao Tian invites him to join the art department with his girlfriend. He recognizes her from campus rumors but decides it's best to keep his distance for now. Yanyan watches the scene and thinks that no matter where he goes, he always stands out. Before leaving, the senior hands him a note and asks him to call when he decides what to do. He looks at the paper and Yanyan complains, saying the senior's intentions were obvious. Alone, she asks if she's the first girl he's ever played for, and he confirms that she is. With a determined look, she moves closer and asks for them to just be together already. He's surprised by the direct request, not knowing what to say at that moment. She insists that she's serious, but he only gives a vague answer without confirming. With a smile, he asks what the benefits of being her boyfriend are, leaving her confused. Embarrassed, she says they could eat together, watch movies, and do other things. She whispers that she would let him kiss her, so he says that if he's not her boyfriend, he can't do that. Panicking, Yanyan immediately shouts that of course not. He leans closer and teases her, saying that a man's patience has its limits. Without warning, he pulls her into a deep kiss, catching the girl completely off guard. Her eyes go wide, totally shocked by his sudden move. He then reflects that she was Chang Hao's goddess and that he won her over way too easily. After a while, he finally breaks the kiss, breathless from the intensity of the moment. With a mischievous look, he teases her about her earlier question, making Yanyan furious. Annoyed, she bites his arm, and he calls her a puppy, while she says it's his fault. On the ground, she then asks if they count as a couple now, and he thinks there's no denying it anymore. Excited, she wants to post to announce it, but he asks her not to use his photo. Feeling bad for his friend, after stealing the guy's girl, he thinks this. The scene then goes back an hour earlier, with Lu Lin smoking on the dorm balcony. Inside the room, Su Qing was advising Shen Yu, saying that Yanyan likes competition, and that Zhu likes to play hard to get. Then she says that Zhu isn't right for Shen Yu, because he can't resist whoever chases him. Shen Yu then asks if by saying that she isn't chasing him too, but Su Qing says it's different because what they have is destiny, and Shen Yu's case has no future. Her friend fires back, saying that Yanyan kissed him, and asking if she isn't angry, but Su Qing denies it. Inside, she thinks she was the first, while the scene shows her watching the kiss from afar. She then says she's already caught her husband in bed with another woman, so a kiss means nothing to her now. Shen Yu gets confused by the story about a husband, and Su Qing tells her not to think too much about it. With that, she advises her friend to give up and focus on her studies, just like she's doing. Sad, Shen Yu thinks that he prefers the passion of a rose, while she's only a magnolia. The scene shifts to midnight, with Shen Yu lying in bed, silently scrolling on her phone. She then sees Yanyan's post, showing their hands together with a caption about getting married. Disappointed, Shen Yu thinks this world is a mess, staring at her phone sadly. The scene then changes, showing the protagonist arriving at a luxury car dealership. He celebrates the money he made with stocks, planning to buy a car and then a house. The car that catches his attention is a brand new white convertible BMW, shining bright. He walks closer, thinking the car is perfect for taking a drive and having some fun. But a manager tells the new salesperson to attend to him, assuming he's just there to show off. The saleswoman compliments his good taste, but he cuts her off and immediately asks for the final price of the car. She's surprised by his aura since, even dressed simply, he doesn't look like a nobody. He then asks to take a test drive and the woman agrees instantly, even offering him a coffee. After the test, he says he liked the car and will pay the full price up front. The saleswoman is stunned, asking if she heard right, and he confirms that he's not joking. Super excited, she takes his card and promises to speed things up so he can get the car right away. The card machine beeps, confirming that the $1,000,000 transaction was successfully approved. She hands him the contract and the keys, offering to be his personal saleswoman 24 hours a day. He praises her cleverness and leaves with the new car while she wishes him a good trip. From afar, the manager is stunned, realizing she completely misjudged the guy. Inside the car, he finds a real estate flyer with a very interesting offer. With a smile, he thinks that now that the car is sorted, it's time to get a house. He then decides it's time for a certain wild kitten to see what he's achieved. Already in the car, Yanyan takes a photo of them together to show her friends the historic moment. He thinks about letting her post it since it saves him the trouble of telling everyone himself. With that, she posts the photo with a romantic caption, and the comments start pouring in. He then invites her to see the new house, and she's surprised that he's already bought one. With a seductive smile, she says that staying out all night isn't what a good student should do, and that she should go back to the university. She then kisses him, saying she can give him some interest as thanks for the favor. He thinks that should have been his line, not the one from the bold girl in front of him. With a sly smile, he decides that since it's like this, he won't be polite anymore. In one swift move, he pushes her down, laying her across the seat of the luxury car. She gets all flustered by his move, whispering for him not to do that there, but inside she's impressed, wondering where he learned those techniques. He moves closer and starts kissing her neck, and she is completely taken by surprise by his action. Desperate, she tries to push him away and shouts for him to stop right at that moment. Embarrassed, she says that she's tired and wants to go back, and he agrees to take her to the dorm, but inside he feels frustrated because she had excited him only to suddenly ruin the mood. The scene shifts to the new apartment, where he relaxes, thinking that he already has a house, a car, and plenty of money left over. Suddenly, his phone vibrates with a new message from an unexpected contact. He sees that it's Lu Lin and wonders if she's out of money again. She says that she saw his post and that their transaction isn't over yet, asking if he has time. The doorbell rings, and when he opens the door, he finds Lu Lin standing there. He's shocked, asking if she seriously came all the way there, and Lu Lin confirms it. Not understanding, he simply sighs and invites her in so they can talk better. She immediately confronts him and asks for another 4,000, saying that being with her is much easier and less troublesome than being with Yanyan. He's completely stunned by the girl's audacity, unable to believe her proposal. The light in the room dims, and the scene focuses on a corner, creating a suspenseful atmosphere. Suddenly, she appears in bed wearing a nightgown, saying she's ready for whatever he wants. Without hesitating, she uses her foot to tease him and asks what he wants to do next. He then throws her onto the bed and tells her to leave everything to him, that he'll take care of everything. With a smile, he thinks that her intensity has a unique and very different flavor. She